My name is Amelia White. I got married to my husband, Tom, when we were both 35, and we never had any children. After 15 years of marriage, one day Tom dropped a bombshell on me. "I'm sorry, but I've decided to be with Ashley from now on. That means I want a divorce." To my shock, he had brought his mistress home and openly declared his infidelity. Moreover, she was more than a year younger than my husband. At this time, he was 55 years old and the mistress was 30 years old. They had apparently met at a nightclub. Grinning smugly, Ashley had the audacity to say, "Please divorce Tom. I need him in my life from now on." But you do realize that Tom is a 55-year-old man, right? Are you sure he's what you want? Don't tell me you're thinking of trying to stop our marriage? I hate to break it to you, but I'm in love with Ashley now. She's even carrying my child." "What? She's pregnant?" I had a sneaking suspicion that Tom was cheating, but the news of the pregnancy was a total shock. Lost for words, I watched as Tom handed me a paper. "That's divorce papers." My husband's name was already written there. "We're getting a divorce. I plan on starting a new life with Ashley and our upcoming child." I see. It seemed Tom and Ashley had been involved for about 2 years. Presumably, she was after Tom's money. He was the son of a wealthy family, and their estate was quite grand. He oversaw many companies and was the CEO of one of them. My in-laws had never been very fond of me. Mainly because I was infertile. Our lack of children was due to my infertility. A fact that my mother-in-law never hesitated to criticize me for. I had considered divorce in the past, but after 15 years together, it was hard to take that final step. Ashley, utterly oblivious to who Tom really was, looked at me with a smug smile. "I hope you'll divorce Tom. He seems eager to be rid of you, doesn't he?" "Sure. I don't mind divorcing, but you do realize there are things you need to take care of first, right? Are you talking about alimony?" "Don't worry, Tom's rich. He can afford it." She boldly stated this while latching onto Tom's arm. As if to show off to me, she pressed her body close to him. And there he was, grinning foolishly as if enchanted by her youthfulness. Seeing my husband, well into middle age, fawning over a younger woman made my skin crawl. I had known for quite some time that Tom's affection for me had waned considerably. Years ago, he started becoming cold and aloof toward me. "How about going on a trip for our anniversary this weekend?" "Huh? It's not worth celebrating that much, plus I'm swamped with work. I don't want to waste my time on a trip with you." "I thought a trip might be a nice break for us. If it's about going on a trip, I'd have a much better time with a young lady. Who in their right mind would go on a trip just with you? It's creepy." "It's terrible to speak to your wife like that. Why would you say such cruel things? You're the one making a fuss. The trip is off the table, and I'm booked up this weekend anyway. Unlike you, I have people to meet." The Tom I knew from the past always made time for me no matter how busy he was, and he certainly never would have spoken to me in such a harsh manner. What could have changed him so much? Back then, the thought that my husband was already cheating on me seemed surreal, but that was probably the case. Gradually, I noticed his affection for me waned, and I believe he was becoming infatuated with a younger woman. In the early days of his coldness, I often found myself too shocked to sleep. But now, I feel absolutely no sadness. I was practically counting down to our divorce, so it didn't come as a shock at all. "I don't mind getting divorced, but make sure you pay that alimony, okay? If you promise that, I won't mind signing the papers right away." "You're so hung up on money, huh? Were you only after my wallet when we married? Don't put me in the same category." "So, you're going to pay the alimony, right? Fine. If you want to divorce that badly, I'll pay whatever you want," he conceded. "Then let's go ahead with it." Despite his relaxed smile, I doubted he had any clue about what lay ahead of him. After that, I signed the divorce papers in front of both of them. Then, my husband stepped away for a moment to inform his parents of the news. Left alone with his mistress, she boldly said to me, I'm on cloud 9 having snagged a wealthy man. Just so you know, you can't change your mind later, okay? And no stalking or anything. It's totally off limits. I wouldn't stoop to such shameful behavior. Well, I'm sure you'll have your hands full, but do your best, I politely chided. Don't worry, I'll do even better than necessary, she replied, oozing confidence. She was clearly lost in her own fantasy. I knew a secret about my ex-husband, but chose not to share it with her. Following that, our divorce went through quickly. I'd spent 15 years with my ex, but I felt no lingering sentiment. Post-divorce, I moved out of our former house and into an apartment. I got used to living alone surprisingly quickly. Rumor had it that my ex and his mistress had a lavish wedding with around 300 guests. What they do with their lives is none of my concern. I was enjoying mine. 3 months after parting ways with my ex, I accidentally ran into his mistress, Ashley. She seemed quite cheerful, eyeing the offerings at a designer shop. I tried to ignore her and leave, but she noticed me. Ashley approached me with a smirk. You're the ex-wife, aren't you? What a coincidence to bump into you here. I didn't want to see you, yet here we are. You still hung up on Tom? Give it up, he's all over me now, she said confidently. I'm sure he is. He looked happier than I've ever seen him when we split, I acknowledged her claim. You haven't given up on Tom, have you? We even have a loving son now, so you'd better cut your losses. Don't worry, I have no love left for him. I assured her, and I meant it. But Ashley seemed to think I was putting up a front. You must be upset to let such a rich husband slip away. You have no idea. What are you talking about? Judging by her behavior, it seems like Ashley truly doesn't know anything. I had purposefully kept a secret from her. You may be living a prosperous life now, but I wonder how long that happiness will last. What are you talking about? You know Tom here is a tycoon's son, right? Plus, he's running the company, and all sorts of CEOs celebrated our wedding with us. Seeing Ashley bragging with such triumphant smiles seemed somewhat comical to me. Hey, what's with you since earlier? That smirking is creeping me out. I get it. Tom dumped you and it broke your mind, right? I'm perfectly normal, thank you. Even though you say that, you're dying to cry right now, aren't you? As Ashley laughed out loud, I decided to enlighten her with a certain truth. I forgot to tell you something important. That family actually. What about Tom and his family? You seem to know nothing about the Brown conglomerate. Well, I don't really understand complicated stuff. But I've heard they manage a bunch of companies, and Tom has been entrusted with running quite a significant one. It might be a bit complex for you, but the thing is, about 90% of the companies under the Brown conglomerate are deep in the red and in a dire situation. What? Red means they are in debt, right? Well, yes, that's the gist of it. Your father-in-law and Tom have such personalities that they've lost trust. I've heard that the number of companies willing to do business with them is decreasing yearly. What is that? The Brown conglomerate had about 20 companies under its umbrella. Half of them were on the brink of bankruptcy. Only 1/10 of these enterprises were profitable, and even those were barely making it. Without any companies willing to lend a hand, the Amelia conglomerate was burdened with debts amounting to hundreds of millions. The conglomerate's shaky management started about 5 years into my marriage. Since then, there's been no turn toward profitability, and the management situation has only worsened. When the business started struggling, my ex-husband faced a lot of stress at work, and our marital relationship rapidly deteriorated. Every encounter ended in a fight, and naturally, he stopped contributing to household expenses. Ashley turned pale as she learned the truth about the Brown conglomerate. She was visibly shaken, but she seemed to refuse to believe it. But, you know, Tom works as a president, and the company is making money, right? He's always giving me expensive presents. The company Tom managed went bankrupt before he married you. What? But he told me he runs a company. He must have lied to impress you. He's always been concerned about appearances. As I revealed the truth, Ashley was speechless, her eyes widened in shock. I decided to tell her another fact she was probably unaware of. Most of the people who attended your wedding were just actors pretending to be important CEOs. You said there were many big shots there, but I can't imagine major company presidents actually attending your wedding with Tom. You wouldn't know. You didn't come to the wedding, so how could you say that? Actually, a friend of mine was at your wedding. She works in the same industry as my ex and told me all about it. A few of my acquaintances had attended their wedding. They seemed to be attending out of curiosity about what kind of ceremony it would be. I was surprised to hear from them that even actors were hired to stage the wedding. It seemed the employees were also aware that my ex left me because he got Ashley pregnant. They must have found excuses not to attend the ceremony. He must have been desperate to marry her, even if it meant hiring actors. The in-laws, too, were desperate not to let the younger woman slip away. Ashley's eyes were wide open as she took in the truth. Yet, she couldn't fully accept that her husband didn't have money. But we live in a luxury high-rise, and Tom pays the full rent, so how can we be out of money? You're just bitter because he left you for me, aren't you lying? I'm not lying. Everything I've told you is the truth. I won't be fooled. I can't believe that Tom has no money. But are you okay? Shouldn't you not be shopping right now? And why not? Well, weren't you just a housewife when you married to Tom? What if you haven't found a job yet? What will you do when the alimony runs out? What are you talking about? I'm employed. Ashley seemed to be under the impression that I had continued to be a housewife after getting married. Perhaps my ex had fed her some false information, too. I didn't find it amusing that she was mistaken about me, so I decided to set the record straight. I run several restaurants, actually. And yes, I'm the current CEO as well. Wait, the president? But in this day and age, anyone can become a president, right? I bet it's not even a big company, huh? You've been frequenting that upscale French restaurant in the next town over, haven't you? Are you talking about the French place near the station? Yes. As it turns out, that's one of the restaurants I own. What? That place is like super upscale French dining where celebrities go, isn't it? If you think I'm lying, just look up my name online. I'm pretty sure you'll find it right away. Then Ashley starts looking it up right then and there. Being young, she's quick at searching. It seems she has realized that what I've been saying is true. Ashley is looking at me with wide eyes. Do you own other famous restaurants too? And I've been to those places. Thank you for patronizing them. But I'm curious, Ashley, how is it okay for you to be out at a restaurant with another man when you've got Tom at home? And you seemed quite close to that man, too. How do you know about that? Did an employee tell you? I'm the president, but sometimes I help out at the restaurants. It was one of those times that I happened to see you. After dinner, you went into a nearby hotel with that man, didn't you? What? You watched that far? That's creepy, almost like stalking. Even after being caught in an affair, Amelia doesn't seem to sense any danger. What's more, she starts with this. I'm still in my 30s, you know? I don't think an older woman like you would understand, but I've still got time to have fun. Plus, unlike you, I'm confident in my looks. That doesn't make it right for a married woman to have an affair, though. Wouldn't that be bad if Tom found out? No worries. He should feel lucky he got to marry me. Realistically speaking, there's no way I'd marry a 55-year-old man at 30, right? I see, so love was never part of the equation for you. Can you seriously look at a man 25 years your senior as a romantic partner? If he didn't have money, I wouldn't have chosen a man like that. Well then, just so you know, that man is drowning in debt to the tune of millions. I doubt the lifestyle you're used to will be sustainable for even another year. I'm pretty sure Tom will eventually come clean to you about it. Is that debt stuff really true? It's the truth. I knew about the debts when I was married to him. And yet, it's surprising how he managed to pay the alimony. What? Ashley was not ready to believe it, but gradually, her composure began to crumble. After hearing so much, even she seems to feel she has to believe it. Is what you're saying really true? You might not believe anything I say, so why not ask Tom directly? He might try to cover it up, but I think it's a lie, but I'll ask Tom. If it turns out you're lying just to scare me, I won't let it slide. Ashley then finally walks away from me. I was just out to unwind with some shopping, but that encounter drained me. I was planning to enjoy some more shopping that day, but I wasn't in the mood anymore, so I finished quickly and went home. A few days after that unexpected meeting with Ashley, I got a call from someone. I had a feeling I would be hearing from them, so I decided to answer. It's you! What the hell did you tell Ashley? Because of you, she's left me. On the other end was my ex-husband, Tom. No sooner had I picked up, he started yelling at me. His attitude had not changed at all from when we got married. Isn't it rude to start a call by shouting? The rude one is you. Are you that intent on ruining our happiness? I could hear the tears in Tom's voice. Ashley leaving must have been quite a shock. He was obviously smitten with her. I just told her the truth. It would be cruel to keep her in the dark with lies, wouldn't it? Don't meddle. I'm gonna sue you for alimony. As punishment, you'll pay me $2 million. What are you talking about? You're the one supposed to pay alimony. But since I've already received a fair amount, I'm not planning on asking for more. Then give me back the alimony I paid. There was like $120,000 for the both of us, right? I could give it back, but what good will $120,000 do against millions in debt? He choked on his words after my response. The debts amounting to hundreds of millions are strictly the company's burden. Yet, if the company were to go under, some of that responsibility would inevitably fall on my ex-husband, Tom. Tom had flaunted himself as a prosperous CEO in front of Amelia, but in reality, he was a pretentious man drowning in debt. To shower Amelia with gifts, he had even taken out loans himself, which seemed to be in the range of a few $100,000. I had heard about Tom's debts from mutual acquaintances. You're pitiable, having to raise a child with all your debts. And that child might not even be yours. What are you talking about? Have you not heard anything from Ashley? What are you referring to? Ashley has a serious boyfriend, someone much younger than you, probably in his mid-30s, just like her. They often come together to the cafe I own. No way, she's been cheating on me? She told me herself. She said she never married you for love. Basically, you were just her cash cow. That's a lie, right? Tom's voice was trembling. I'm sure he was crying on the phone. After sobbing for a while, he began to bitterly complain. I worked so hard for her, and this is the thanks I get. Do you have any idea how much I've given to Ashley? That's tough. But you loved spoiling her, didn't you? Maybe you're not entirely blameless for being duped. What are you saying? It's the liar who's at fault, not the one being lied to. When you're told I love you and I want to be with you, anyone would be deceived. I was dumbfounded by his attempts to justify himself. How had I ever spent 15 years with such an idiot? I wanted to demand my precious time back. As I was seething with exasperation, Tom continued. I'm stuck doing grunt work every day. I had to keep up the pretense of being a CEO for Ashley. The Brown family business does seem to be struggling quite a bit. Exactly. My father has me running errands all the time, and the employees don't show me any respect. Some don't even greet me. I think it's bad not to greet people, but the staff knows what you've done. And it seems your divorce and subsequent marriage to a younger mistress is common knowledge. Why should I be criticized by outsiders for who I choose to marry? Besides, I'm still their superior. I can't help you with that. It's the result of your own actions. Can't you at least comfort me a little? Why should I console an ex-husband who cheated on me? Have you forgotten what you did to me? About that. Tom's voice faltered. Perhaps he felt some remorse for cheating. Not that I planned to help him, but I made an offer. Seems like you're planning to leave her anyway, right? Why don't I send you evidence of her infidelity? You have that? Yes. I thought it might come in handy, so I've taken photos of them together. I have a picture of them entering a hotel, which should be sufficiently incriminating. That would really help. You always were competent, Lisa. You're living up to being my ex-wife. That's what I always liked about you. Don't say weird things. I'm only helping because I want her to experience hell, not because I want to help you. Then Tom, misunderstanding, said, You must still have feelings for me. It was just as Amelia said. I'm sorry for betraying you even though you cared so much. What? How do you figure that? If you're willing to help me, it means you still have some feelings for me, right? Despite everything, you loved me, you took care of our home. That's not it. I just stopped expecting anything from you. Why bother if it's just going to lead to an argument? I didn't want the extra stress. Stop with the creepy misunderstandings, please. I meant every word. Yet, Tom seemed convinced I was playing coy. I know what you care about me the most. The betrayal from Amelia has opened my eyes. From here on out, it's just you I'll look at. What? I have no intention of getting back together with you. I'm satisfied with my life as it is now. Work's been going well since I left you. When I was living with my ex-husband, domestic issues often added stress to my life and impacted my work performance negatively. I ended up causing my employees undue worry, and I still feel extremely apologetic about it. I'm immensely grateful for the employees who stayed with me despite how unstable I was. Nowadays, I'm not troubled by family matters and can throw myself into my work. My business is thriving partly thanks to my supportive team. My ex-husband knew my company was prospering. Amelia's company's making a profit, she must be living pretty well, huh? Well, I've got more disposable income now than when I was with you, so I'm living decently. So why don't you help me out? Huh? Why the heck should I assist an ex who betrayed me? We were together for 15 years. I need you now. Ashley betrayed me, I've no clue what to do. I don't believe I can manage on my own. That's none of my concern. I'll hand over proof of your affair, but you're on your own after that. Get a lawyer, I'm sure it'll go smoother. Then he started sobbing over the phone. I involuntarily sighed. You know, I should be the one crying. Did you forget all you put me through? I realized cheating was wrong. But I also got played. To give her love and money and be treated like this, it's just too harsh. Are you dumping me now because I'm broke? I never married you for your cash. I fell for the person you used to be, hardworking and shining, and you treated me so well. Then I'll work hard again, like before, he promised. No way. I can't start over with someone who's crossed me once. Just deal with your own mess, will you? If not, she'll just take all your money and you'll end up pitiful. I'll send you the proof later and I'm going to block you. I doubt we'll talk again, I concluded and hung up. Wait! I still don't have enough to tell you. I don't have anything. Goodbye, I said and hung up. After blocking his number, my former in-laws called. But I figured they didn't deserve a moment of my time and kept them ignored. They have no idea where I've moved. My new apartment's security is airtight, so even if they showed up, they couldn't get in. I'm almost certain I'll never see or talk to my ex and his family again. Months passed and word got around that my ex and Ashley divorced. He demanded alimony for her adultery. And also repayment for money she took from his premarital savings. Turns out, the child she had wasn't actually his, but belonged to her real sweetheart. After some doubts about the child's paternity, my ex had a DNA test done. Ashley tried to pin her child on him but ended up taking the child herself. She hoped to live with her main squeeze, but he had another woman. After the split, she couldn't be with him and found herself raising the kid solo. She seems to be in a state of isolation from both of her parents, and is desperately trying to raise her child by herself. Meanwhile, my ex-husband left the condo he shared with his mistress and moved back into his parents' home. Despite previously residing in a mansion, financial troubles forced my in-laws to sell. Now, they're in a decent rental, setting them back around $2,000 a month. My ex is still stuck in grunt work and seems to be burning the candle at both ends. Me? I'm sailing smoothly in my career and living up a satisfying single life. I'm lucky to have a bunch of single pals, so loneliness is a stranger to me. It's time to drop the baggage from my ex and dive into life's next act.